Hello, I wanted to make kind of a part 2 to our precious metal basic findings video. I was saying in the first video, the previous one, that we currently have a really fabulous selection of precious metal basic findings in the ear wires and head pins, jump rings, crimp covers, that type of thing, in sterling silver and gold fill. And that's because one of my recent destashed collections had a fantastic collection of them. And so I've been able to put them up and keep them at the prices she paid, what looks like kind of along the so in the 2010s, 2015-ish, around that area. So at least, over 10 years ago, probably even older. And of course, precious metal prices have exploded. And so we have excellent prices on precious metal findings right now, and I have a good assortment selection, but they won't last forever. And the next time I get them in, they'll have to be priced based on that cost. So this is the time to come down. But I also want to share a few other things about them. Now here they are out of their bag, because we keep them in bags on the wall. But when I have been all over kind of the internet just checking current prices, and I haven't seen anything even wholesale remotely close to these prices. So what I've done is kept, we have 5 styles of gold filled in our ear wires, and there is, I think, 6, maybe 6, no, 5 in the silver as well, along with the lever back. And I've kept them all the same price for the gold, all the same price for the silver, even though they probably should vary a little. All of our sterling are $2.25 a pair, which is less than a wholesale cost. And we're talking about being able to buy one pair, not having to buy 100 or 1,000 or whatever. And our gold filled are only $1 more at $3.25 a pair, which is insane, because they're definitely closer to $5 or $6 a pair now. And again, that's just to buy one. I wanted to share a couple things. So one thing, if you're looking online to purchase, be aware when it has the cost of a sterling silver ear wire that they're talking about one piece, not a pair, one piece. So if it's a bag of 20 at $2.50 a piece, they're talking about 10 pairs at $5 each, right? So same thing. So if I'm there's a bag of 100, gold filled ear wires at $3. They mean $3 for one ear wire, $6 a pair. So it's just something to be mindful of. And I know it can be confusing, but normally we need 2 pieces. So that's how they're always priced, is by one. Now we don't do it that way. We sell them by the pair. So that's where it can get confusing. I just don't want you to be misled and think that it's cheaper. The least expensive type of ear wire to produce, because these all would normally vary a lot, but I kept them the same price. It's just your little ball end, because it's essentially a ball head pin, right? That's just rolled around a dowel. But it's a very pretty, usable, lovely one. Our more traditional ones we think of, it would depend on having the little ball end or the ball and the screw end, and whether something is flattened, how long the tail is, how large the loop is at the bottom. So it is the metal quantity, but also some mechanics in it. This is a smaller loop, there's a bigger loop. This has a larger bead, this has a longer tail. So like I said, they should vary probably in price, and they would if you were buying just that style, but here at the shop I can't be bothered. So the same thing is true with the gold filled. That's only the screw, but quite long. It's a short one with just the ball and flattened. This is really pretty with the twist to it that's flattened. So just to be aware of all the different styles. there. And then your lever back, of course, is your most secure and most expensive pair of ear wires. And the ones we have right now are only $3.95 a pair. That's insane for sterling, because my plated ones are $1.95 a pair. You know, I don't have gold-filled lever backs right now, but I do have sterling. And when I closed the shop, in 2020, they were $5.95 a pair. So this is a great, great price. And so a couple things though with lever backs that I wanted to kind of point out. This shape, this round shape, is the most expensive one. Another shape you'll see them in is more oblong or more square. This is less expensive. So these should cost less if you see them, you know, out. It just does. Another thing to be aware of is to make sure that you can open the loop at the bottom, because that's not always true. And I just want people to be aware of, like, when you see a really great price or something that just seems too good to be true, there are reasons. And so we want to be able to open this loop at the bottom, and I have to be able to see it. So I'm sorry if I'm like, whoops, off, there we go. Like, just go to the side, right? But you have to be able to open her to attach anything. If this loop does not open, which is common in less expensive ones, then you're going to have to use a jump ring. And the thing is, which you may think is not a big deal, but most components face, the loops on components face forward, meaning they line up with the direction of an ear wire loop. So this ear wire faces forward, and so does the loop on the component. It's made that way on purpose. So if your ear wire loop does not open, then you're going to have to put a jump ring. And then when you do that, you'll see that now it's not even facing the right way. And you need another jump ring. So that's not any more secure than if you just spent a little more. This is so far away from me, it's really hard for me to see it. But, I mean, you know what it looks like. I'm just saying that it's just to be aware of that it's a big deal if the loops don't open on all your ear wires. Every ear wire loop should open. End of story. Right, so that you can put on something without having to use a jump ring. Now, let's move on a little bit. Oops. Head pins and eye pins and things, it depends on the length and the thickness. I carry mostly 2-inch, but you'll also see out in the wild little 1-inch or 1.5-inch. That's just fine if you're doing basic loops and it's a shorter design and it's 20 gauge. You know, it's thick enough to just do a basic loop. If it's a ball head pin, that's going to be a little more expensive. I've got a couple different gauges here, so just to be aware of that. And then also in the jump rings, not just size, but thickness, right? So that's this thicker. This is the same size, but this is a thicker gauge, so it's going to cost more. Your crimp covers, these are 4mm. You can normally get a 3mm around a 2x2 crimp tube, and it'll cost less. So that's just another option. And then on the crimp tubes, I want you to make sure, I'm just going to scoot us a little bit. Now, it's still going to be hard to see. If you've come across like a semi-precious, like a precious metal crimp tube, so say in sterling or gold-filled, that's, you know, a crazy price. I mean, like inexpensive price. Definitely try to check a photo of the wall, how thick the wall is on her, right? And so if it's very, very thin, you should be able to see it. So you know how big beads are. It's like a 0.5 millimeter thick, right? You want to make sure there's a good thickness around her. That's what will allow you to get a good crimp. It doesn't do any good to have a teeny tiny thin wall on it. It won't behave any better than if something was plated. And I knocked these over. Let me try to stand them back up. So these crimp tubes, let me just scoot the camera down here. So 4, these are plated. They're not even sterling, and they're unbelievably thin. See how they're wonky shaped too? That's because they're so thin. They're not even round. But they're much thinner of a wall than these sterling or this gold-filled. And I get it's like, Vicki, let's buy a smidge. Right, I know, it's jewelry. But it will make all the difference when you're crimping. You have to have something to crimp onto, right? We want a soft metal of sterling or 14 karat, but we still want it thick enough to hold. So if we try to crimp these plated ones, they're gonna just break. I mean, they're so, there's no point to using them at all. But I just want you to point out and make sure that there's a good thickness to your crimp tubes, and which you'll always find with us. I only carry, you know, I may carry only one size of crimp tube, but it's the good one. So, and we have them packs of 10, where I think they're running 25 cents and 40 cents or something, which is an insane price, like a great price. And look, I came across this little bag, and I know you can't see it very well, but it's a pack of our gold from our shop for $7.95 for 100. When was the last time crimp tubes were 8 cents for gold fill a piece? I can't tell you. I don't know, but it makes me sad. Okay, that's all. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful a little bit. I want you to know what you're buying and want you to get the best possible deal whenever you can. Metal prices today are really crazy, but I at least think I found maybe a good way to get really great prices on some of these things, you know, at least a few of them. So I hope you'll come check us out. Till then, peace.